Does size really matter? That is one of our questions in our comparison test today. BMW X3 versus BMW X5. The big one versus the, let's say, mid-sized one. And you can already see here in the front, they look kinda similar. However, you see that the X3 is slimmer, however, already a strong design, especially here in the 6-cylinder trim, the X3 M40i. And the bright chrome here, but dark contrast in the middle part then because of that M performance version. And the X5 seems lower, but it isn't. It just seems lower because it is wider. Also the double kidney is even more impressive here in the 40i trim. So both comparable engines, the very same engines under the hood for today. Soon more to that. But I would say indeed from the front they are quite comparable. Which one do you like better from the first impression? Tell me in the comments. You are watching Autogefühl with Thomas here in our comparison episode. Here the X5, 4 meters 92 or 194 inches, whereas the X3 is 21 centimeters or 9 inches shorter than at 4 meters 71 or 185 inches. Interesting is you can see two different design lines. In the X5, towards the rear doors, it raises right here in this kind of wave design, I would say, whereas with the X3, one design line goes really straight right here. Both kind of similar from the looks. Definitely you see that the X5 is a little bit more massive. Suspension wise, come either with an adaptive suspension or air suspension than here in the X5 for today. But in any case, the adaptive suspension will do a good job. In the M40i trim, however, it has a stiffer, sportier note. Definitely a hot day here today, over 30 degrees Celsius, so already towards high 80s, almost 90s in Fahrenheit. Here, yeah, sometimes it's also hot in Germany. And here in our comparison, X5, X3, it's very interesting because from the rear you can see there's a bigger difference. In the front you can see, yeah, kind of similar, but here no, the X3 really lower as for the roofline, so the X5 looks really more massive in the rear. Beautiful signature for the lamps here, 3-dimensional, and also in the lower part. Autogefühl fake exhaust police, AFAP. Yeah, that's a clear alert for that. We do not have that with the X3 here because the M40i version has, you know, these integrated tips. So this is a real transition, I think more beautifully done. Here, recent facelift for the X3 also gets new tail lamps, really distinctive design. So I think both from the rear, very beautiful SUVs. But I think it's really remarkable that, especially from the rear, that X5 just looks more massive. Here, by the way, technology-wise, you can also get a rear axle steering. Key fob of the X3 with M colors, in this case, the M40i. Light, really nice. Door closing sound, X3. Okay, not the best one. Not bad at all. Then good build quality here at the inside of the doors, materials, and also as for the window levers and so on. Enough space at the inside door pockets. And the interesting thing now is, look at that user interface with real buttons here, left side of the steering wheel heating. Everything looks kind of similar, you know, with the X3 and the X5. Also in the middle console, for example, with a real shifting lever. Everything, indeed, user interface, almost the same. That's pretty cool. Seats here, by the way, available in the perforated sensor tech since the facelift in a new styling, you know, really breathable, also in different colors. These, however, the animal skin seats, but the new center tech seats are really very good. We have also seen them before. Getting inside, the X3 already delivers you a sophisticated driving experience, like a grown-up SUV, but you sit a little bit lower than in the X5. With 1.89 meters or 6'2", it still leaves a lot of headroom. There is also a panoramic roof available if you want to get one. Depends, of course, where you live. Driving feeling here and the situation is very comfortable, and you know, nothing to be annoyed of or something. Steering in and out, up and down. So it's overall a very likable seating position. If you compare to the X1, this one here does deliver you a little bit more sophistication. And it's, let's take it that way, it's already enough. You don't need more SUV actually. Interior overview, similar X3 and X5. Here in the X3, 2 times 12.3 inch since the facelift, but you would start in very base versions with analog instruments, with a small screen, and also here with a smaller 10.25 inch screen. But most of the ones you will find then here with the optional screens actually. And when you turn on the engine, you also see the AC unit popping up here. And this is so cool here that we still have a manual climate unit, also manual volume knob. So a nice usable user interface. Volume also at the steering wheel, for example, left side cruise control with rear buttons. This is really easy to control. You immediately feel at home actually. In the lower part here, you can slide this one open for reasonably put cup holders. Then here would be an inductive charging pad if there would be one. Because of supply chain shortage, the X3 has some struggles with that to get one at the moment when you order a new one. And here, real shifting lever, left side for the sports mode, for example, and that came back automatically. Yeah, because when you're in the P mode, it comes back automatically from the left. Did you see that? Once again, D mode, left, and then when I put to P. Interesting magic. Here you control everything while driving here. You do not have to use a touchscreen then. And this is the thing, here the armrest, it goes up. That's not that practical. In the X5 you'll see, you'll have a split opening that is better actually. BMW OS 7 or iDrive 7, so easy to control. You have the hot keys or hot areas here on the left side, and so easy to control everything either with the touchscreen here, also quite responsive, or with the lower area driving knob. And the Apple CarPlay integration, wireless, Android Auto meanwhile as well. And that one can be controlled right here and has also very nice integration, crystal clear view. You have your camera, you can also get one with a drone view from above here. And the resolution, I mean, it's really bright outside now, but I think it could be a little bit better though. Instruments, clear and easy to read. And also when you go to the sports modes, for example, it adapts into, yay, here in the M40i, that's of course a cool thing. And in the middle part you have either assistant system view or also some GPS info. Head-up display actually also changes and has this RPM view in the sports mode. Nice. Then door closing sound. Feel a little bit more sophisticated with the X3, a little bit more low frequency sound. Interior quality is really similar, both is very good. Here also with this Hofmeister King design on the interior. Yeah, also very well done. And then the basic user interface, how the steering wheel looks like, and also for the middle console here with the shifting lever and the iDrive controller, really very similar. With the seats, they are a little bit more voluminous, and now, recent upgrade, also sensor fin available. That's, let's say, a more elaborated sensor tech material, also all animal free, is available in different colors as well. Here, once again, the animal skin equipment. But the sensor fin is really something very soft, very cool to go for now. I hope at some point I can also show you that even more live in a more extended way. Here, seating position. Yeah, similar, also a lot of headroom. And yeah, a little bit more voluminous, a little bit more luxurious, the seat. Basically a little bit softer, I would say. And you sit more upright, have more this command driving position. Interior overview, really similar, maybe a little bit more stretched right here. 2x 12.3 inch screens. Here also Android Auto is available and Apple CarPlay, depending on what you have. Most updated OS 7 version and better than the new OS 8, because once again you have a better overview here. Also with that manual climate unit, so easy to control. Lower middle console is a little bit larger here in the X5, but also similar. Cup holders, inductive charging pad, and then good shifting lever here, once again sports mode. And to control it while driving. Here, this is the optional air suspension, so you can lift the niveau manually like this, or it will also go lower automatically, for example, when you drive really fast. And here I do prefer this split armrest. And there's literally no difference in the infotainment system. The only thing maybe, you can see it right here, it has a more sophisticated ambient lighting you will see in the tunnel when we drive the car very soon. And the head-up display, as well as the instruments, are just the same, both very good. As for the rear seat comparison, headroom works for both in the rear, but very interesting, the legroom doesn't differ that much from BMW X5 to BMW X3, so that the length difference has to be mainly in the trunk. In the X3, you can also change the angle of the back seats. Now the trunk comparison, here we have the single hatch for the X3, we have the split hatch for the X5. Of course a nice emotional feature, but let's start Yeah, there we go. Let's start with the X3 because 50 liters less actually, but a good width here, easily a meter or 40 inches, a meter or 40 inches. Here in length, this is like some 93 centimeters or 36 inches. There the X5 has some advantage, and the height here, 78 centimeters or 30 inches. But you can see it's very well usable and also sits a little bit lower than in the X5. I can easily reach over here to fold the seats as well. Let's fold this one here as well. So that works, but there's no mechanism right here. Let's compare it now a little bit more in the X5. The width here, also a little bit more than a meter or 40 inches, so a little bit more in width. Here the length, this is definitely a difference because this is easily a meter or 40 inches. So here, there was the X3 was here, so I have this more. And in height, yeah, a little bit more, 80 centimeters or 31, 32 inches, so a little bit more there as well. Overall, a little bit more flexibility overall. And there is also a version where you can fold the seats from here. It's not in this very vehicle, therefore I have to reach over here, and that's a little bit trickier then. But you know, it does work somehow like this. And so overall a little bit more trunk length, but both are very well usable. In the X5 here, it's a little bit higher, so loading in and out could be maybe a little bit more complicated. There's also a function when you have that here in vehicles with air suspension that you can lower it, and you have in here this picnic bench. You can sit here with two persons. It's easily possible, also weight-wise. The only thing sometimes is when you get off here or when you stand in front of that one, the button can be easily touched with your legs as well, and then suddenly it raises up just by touching it with the leg. Not sure if there would be any better possibility to, you know, to hide this button, because sometimes when you load things in here like this, I activated it with my leg, so that can happen actually, but overall I still like the feature. We are comparing both with same engine, 3-liter inline 6-cylinder, the famous one by BMW, twin power. It sits rather low inside the X5 right here, 335 horsepower, 5.7 seconds in the acceleration figure. Whereas in the X3 actually, you can see it sits a little bit higher inside the vehicle, and it's 4.8 seconds, so about a second faster in the acceleration, because this one here is 300 kilograms or around 600 pounds lighter than the X5, therefore better acceleration and also a higher horsepower tune. Here 360 horsepower in the EU, even 380 horsepower in the US. There are of course also other versions available. If you go for an entry-level X3, the price difference will be larger. Here in these versions here, the price difference is not that large. At the end of the video, we'll also talk more about pricing. Let's continue. Let's go. Let's go. $150.